Well, another Tuesday Wrestling just went by, so we're going to review both AEW Dark and Impact Wrestling. So all of that is coming up on Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things is pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, and the National Wrestling Alliance. I am our host, J-Rod here. So let's get started with AEW Dark. Let me pull out my notes since I know I saw the whole thing. First match of the day was a women's match. It's Kenzie Page, who has recently been on Dark on certain occasions, facing off against the Chief Brand Officer, Brandi. So this particular match was more interesting because we're getting to see the more developmental part of Brandi. If you guys recall, we hardly ever see her wrestle. We do know she wanted to wrestle from the very beginning, but things have been changing. But it was a good match, I'm not going to lie. She picked up the victory, but the time this thing, when she won the match, apparently she was attacked by Anna Jay, and then all of a sudden, here comes Red Velvet, who has been making appearances at AEW Dark, and she returned the favor to Brandi after Anna Jay tried to hurt her with the Queen Slayer submission move that she did on Brandi weeks ago. So basically, this rivalry between Anna Jay and Brandi is going to continue on, maybe until the next pay-per-view. Who knows? Next match is a tag team match. We have Ray Rosas and Eric Wyatt, two wrestlers who are Southern California boys. These guys have been well known in the independents. I heard Ray Rosas' name before, Watts as well. If you guys must know, personally, Watts was one of the few wrestlers that was suspicious about Joey Ryan dick flip maneuver. If you guys haven't heard it, he even posted it on Twitter, so you guys get a clear idea who he is. They were facing off against the fan favorite, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. But much of the match, if you guys don't know, Eric Watts is a huge dude. He's almost the same equal size as Luchasaurus. But great match. I enjoyed it, how it went. The Jurassic Express picked up the victory on this one, so it was good. I'm not going to say one of the best, but it was good. Then we have this little interview that explains about this Wednesday's Jericho's match. This match for Jericho and Hagar versus Luther and Serpentico. Apparently it's revealed that there's some sort of history between Luther and Jericho. They're both Canadians. They knew each other. Jericho was been on the national televised circuit. As for Luther, he's been well known in Japan, facing the best wrestlers there is. He's dominated the independents, but basically now we're seeing he is now stepping up into a national televised level. So this is going to be interesting. So Luther and Serpentico will be facing Inner Circle members Hagar and Jericho. So this is going to be a really interesting match. It's going to take place this Wednesday. Then we jump into another tag team, Anthony Bowens and Lee Johnson versus Project Chaos, which is the tag team that's with Luther and Serpentico. Now this is one of those matches that is going to be interesting, since we are getting a little bit of a preview we could see for Wednesday. As you guys must know, Luther is officially with AEW, Serpentico is not, but I would love to see AEW sign him because I feel like this is a really good tag team. They deserve to be well known on this one, not to mention their tag team called Chaos Project. It's pretty good. I like it. But it was a good match. There seems like Lee Johnson and Bowens almost got the upper hand, but however, you cannot outmatch Luther and Serpentico's way, so they picked up the victory on this one. Next match, we have um, Will Hobbs and Ryson. Now, Will Hobbs has been a very household name. If you guys haven't heard or seen yet, he has been making more headway as of never. As you know, he is currently going to face the FTW champion, Brian Cage, this Wednesday, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to witness that one. It's going to be two behemoths facing off, so this is going to be very interesting. But I was impressed with Will Hobbs' power house technique. It's very great. Even the spine buster is amazing. So he picked up the victory. I'm like, this guy is going to be a huge star. So Will Hobbs picked up the victory. Next up, Eddie Kingston had this little message that he called out, what's his name? Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, calling them clowns, that they're a joke to him, and there's guys like the Lucha Brothers are very serious dudes, that they're going to prove that they don't belong in this and all that type of thing, you know? So that was one of the matches that took place for the main event, I think. Next match, we have John Silver of the Dark Order, or we know as Four, or as the guys from Square Circle Cycle Battle called Thing 2, facing off against QT Marshall. Much of this we knew the history of. If you guys may or may have noticed, right now John Silver is getting the push that he deserves. Mostly we haven't seen him getting a big push on Dynamite, but in Dark he looks like he is, basically, even for a guy his size. One thing that I knew was going to happen is the Dark Order were going to fear. You see Stu, 10, and 5 showing up, trying to ensure that they win, that John Silver wins. But basically, it's more like that. I think they're giving John Silver much of the exposure. But I have to say, it's pretty well now. They're recognizing him, that he could be a valuable wrestler they can use, even as a member of the Dark Order. So he picked up the victory. But however, the war between both the Nightmare family and the Dark Order will continue on. Next thing we have is another tag team. What's his name? David Ali and Cesar Bononi versus Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. Now, this is another good match. Now, these guys have been used by Dark. They were mostly the jobbers. But however, this one proved another different entity I did not expect. I'm going to skip ahead anyway. The winners for this particular match was my biggest shocker, but I was like so happy for Brian Pillman and Griff Garrison. They finally picked up their first victory. Now, I don't know what is the case. I don't know if AEW sees something in them that many promotions don't. We do know about Brian Pillman Jr.'s history. We know who his father is and his involvement. Some of you who know him already from MLW saying what's going on with him. Well, as you guys don't know, he is considering leaving MLW. His contract doesn't expire till January of 2021. But we'll see what happens once MLW returns doing their shows. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Next, we have is a women's match: Skylar Moore versus Big Swole. I wasn't too much sold on this much, but however, I will tell you, Big Swole picked up the victory as always. So I'm pretty much very happy with the idea. But next thing we see is Matt Sydal giving a message to Michael Nakazawa, who is, in fact, if you guys follow Being the Elite, he was the one who put Turkish oil on the turnbuckle that allowed Matt Sydal to botch. So they went with the story, and he decided, he was going to face him. Michael Nakazawa had a baby oil he was spreading, so basically he's been. But Matt Sydal did notice in the turnbuckle that what he did. He even pulled out his underwear to ensure that he thinks that his little underwear thing is Mr. Sacco. But however, Michael Nakazawa had his butt handed to him by Matt Sydal, but which is a really good match. I think I like this one. I'm not sure yet. There is still no word about what Matt Sydal's position is with AEW. We do know he's been in the independent scenes, mostly from Black Label Pro and a few others. Um, so I'm kind of excited to see where they're gonna go. Next we have is Mbadu versus Eddie Kingston. Basically, this is one of those matches where Eddie Kingston still has his aggressiveness. He's still ticked off about certain situations that took on his place while he's in AEW. If you recall, he claims that he never tapped out. He ever got a pinfall from Jon Moxley. But however, Bryce made the decision wisely to end the match due to the safety of him. But Eddie Kingston doesn't like that. So this rivalry between him is not forward. So he took his frustrations out at Mbadu. So he won the match. Then we had that message between Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss replying to what Kingston said about them. They were not too happy about it, but it was very interesting, but they're not going to back down from a fight. Next match we have is Shawn Dean facing off against one half of the Hybrid 2, Angelico. I'll skip this one. It'll be Angelico who won this one. I wasn't too much fun on this one as I thought I could, but it did. Now, main event time, we have the Lucha Brothers along with Eddie Kingston versus Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. Now, much of this match has been going in the favor of both, but however, there was always the turning point between Penta and Rey, the Lucha Brothers, and they picked up the victory as always by using their finisher maneuver as simple. But as we all know, Eddie Kingston's rivalry towards Jon Moxley is far from over. So I think that's pretty much it what we got for AEW Dark. So let's move on with Impact Wrestling. Alright, we're in Impact Wrestling right now, so we're only a few days away, maybe less than 12 or more, for Bound for Glory. So we're starting out with the first match, Tommy Dreamer versus Brian Myers. Now, Brian Myers had a huge chip on his shoulder since arriving to Impact, always proclaiming himself as the most professional wrestler in Impact. However, he's not the most professional wrestler, but he has looked up to Tommy Dreamer as a father figure. So this match was going well in the favor, but however, Brian Myers just had it with Tommy Dreamer's with his nagging, and he disqualified himself by attacking him with the kendo stick. So basically, this whole thing with Brian Myers, he's getting upset now that he feels like he's still not being recognized as the most professional wrestler, even though he's not. He always gets away with everything. So the match ended in a disqualification. So that's pretty much what happened. As you know, recently, what's happened? Moose has been going crazy ever since EC3 took the TNA World Heavyweight Championship from him after the events of the recent pay-per-view. Now, he's been going everywhere, going nuts, going through every stone underneath every rock, and he can't find it. So Moose has been going crazy while EC3 has been playing all these mind games, believing that if he destroys the title, Moose will be free from it. But Moose has a different way. Then we had this thing with a segment with Johnny E. Bravo, where he's having hard times keeping up with the finances for his wedding. So Fallah Bahh, who is the best man, made a decision that he will step up to get the money. And of course, out of nowhere, Swinger is still a little bitter that he lost the match to Fallah Bahh, and he gets into face with the Deaners, dragging Crazy Steve. So basically, they are going to settle the score later on in the night in the match. Now, Rohit Raju, as you all know, is the current X Division champion. He's been trying to dodge every wrestler that still wants a piece. He doesn't want nothing to do with Chris Bay. He doesn't want nothing to do with TJP or Trey. So basically, he even got right now with Willie Mack saying that he had opportunities and he lost it. And then Jordan Grace showed up to take on the challenge. But however, somehow Rohit Raju got away with it by saying that he won the match, but he never put the X Division title on the line. Claiming. Now, this is what happens next. Impact Wrestling's EVP, Scott D'Amore, was appreciating Rohit Raju, saying you did exactly what he said, challenges. So basically what he did, that in Bound for Glory, he will put the top in a 6-man scramble. So he picked not only Rohit Raju will be the one in it, he has Willie Mack, Jordan Grace, Trey Miguel, Chris Bay, and TJP, all 6 of them. And I think Rohit Raju realized that he made things a lot worse for himself with this, or he thought that maybe, Scott D'Amore was just playing with him, or maybe Scott D'Amore just say, okay, I believe you, you were right, you're the star, so I'm going to do this really interesting match with you. So basically, he put himself on the spot without realizing it. Now, the next thing we have in the backstage, no, never mind, as there was still the continuation, Fallah Bahh said that he is going to get the money to help out with the finance for the wedding for Johnny E. Bravo. So what he did, he was looking for Hernandez. So their only logical conclusion to that is that he wants to steal the money that he actually took a couple weeks ago. So that's going to be a little interesting. Now, the next match we have is a return match between Triple XL versus the Rascals. The Rascals already beat Triple XL once before, but this is more of a revenge match, if you guys can understand that. But it showed more of prominent with the Rascals being the underdogs against huge guys like AC Romero and Larry D. So they should be also right now in a tag team picture, but they're not. But hopefully in the future we can see them with tag team gold, and that's something we've been waiting for a while now. And the Rascal picked up the victory as always, and there should be right now in the conversation. Next thing up we see in the segment, Fallah Bahh found Hernandez taking a shower, and somehow he was able to take Hernandez's money. Yeah, he stole his money. If I were Fallah Bahh, I'd be careful to tell Johnny where he got the money. Basically, you don't want to get him in trouble. You don't want Reno Scum coming after you. So that's what he did. Now, they went to, as you know, in Bound for Glory, Rich Swann will be facing Eric Young for the Impact World title. So he was on the road to recovery, but however, he was attacked out of nowhere by Eric Young, believing that he gave him a way out months ago. As you recall, at Slammiversary, he took him out. So he thinks that he has to wipe him out for the greater way for him, knowing that he did him a favor, even though there was no favor for Rich Swann. So it's still unknown about his condition. Will he be 100% at Bound for Glory when he faced Eric Young? He already beat Eric Young, already took out Eddie Edwards, but we'll see how that goes. Then we have an interview with the Motor City Machine Guns, who we all know they're part of the 4-man tag team match, where they will put their titles on against not only one team, not 2, but 3. It's going to be a fatal 4-way tag team match between the Motor City Machine Guns, the North, the Good Brothers, and Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. But however, the Good Brothers come out to tell them to extend their hands, saying that they're going to watch their backs, knowing that the North will try to do whatever it takes to ensure they lose. As you know, the North are still upset for losing the tag team titles to the Motor City Machine Guns, believing that they took the spotlight, that people should have been talking about them for being the longest reigning tag team. But of course, we know how that will go out, but we'll see until we get to Bound for Glory. Where was I? Next thing we have is a Knockouts tag team match, as we have Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie teaming up against Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Now they've been Taya has been dealing with both Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz since they've both been trying to become best groomsmen for Johnny Bravo, but Bravo's not having it. And of course, they think that Taya Valkyrie has been controlling. So it's been a robbery. But however, Rosemary has been dealing with Havoc, trying to get her to bring back someone from the dead. So, but the match was great. I have to say, this is a good Knockouts tag team match between Rosemary and Taya versus Hogan and Steelz. But it was great. I enjoyed it. But of course, victory goes to Rosemary and Taya. So we got to see what's going to happen. But now it's been official for next week. We have a 3-way, a triple threat tag team match for the Knockouts. We have Rosemary and Taya teaming up against Hogan and Steels versus Navae and Havoc. So this is going to be a very interesting match. Next match we have is the Deaners facing against Crazy Steve and the man who calls himself the Swingman, Johnny Swing. So basically that's what happened, but however, Steve was really was the worst partner for Johnny Swinger, but it was a good thing because, you know, he keeps calling Steve the young boy, but apparently he's not. So he lost the match because what he did, he was intending to use Steve as monkey on Cody Deaner, but it backfired him. So the Deaners won this match. Next thing we see is Kylie Rae, who has still been upset and unhappy what Deonna Purrazzo did to her best friend Susie. But everyone has been trying to tell Kylie Rae, that Susie is not who they appear to be. That she is the person that we all know who she is, her alter ego, Su Yung. But she is still trying to deal with it. But however, Kimberly shows up and gets in her face, but paid a hefty price when Kylie attacked her out of nowhere. She lost her temper. So basically we're seeing a different side of Kylie Rae. We have seen her, how happy she is, but now it appears that she's out for vengeance. So it's also been revealed now that she is going to face Kimberly this coming Tuesday for Impact. So I can't wait to see that. Now, however, we've been seeing the recent with Heath making headways, saying Heath for Impact. So there's been a disagreement between both the more about what they wanted him to be in Impact. So basically, didn't turn out good. And even he explained this to Rhino. So whatever was going on, I know they will fix it somehow, but it's kind of interesting. Then we finally see the moment we've been waiting for. EC3 destroying the TNA World title. It was crazy. He dropped it at some bridge in a lake or whatever it was. I don't know what's Moose's reaction to this, but it doesn't seem good whatsoever. So we just gotta wait and see what Moose has to say. Next thing we have is Shamrock, who is still in disbelief what he did to Eddie Edwards a couple weeks ago. But Callahan saying that he got 1 million likes over what he did, but of course he still tries to control him. Now the situation is Callahan somehow was able to manipulate Shamrock. We don't know how, but he took out a security guard. Now it's main event time. We have a tag team match. This is 2 of the 4 teams that will face at Bound for Glory for the Impact World Tag Team titles. We have Ace Austin and Madman Fulton versus the current champions, Motor City Machine Guns. This match was good. Now, apparently, it did prove that the Motor City Machine Guns are still the team that we remember. But however, they had to be careful with the one team that still had a problem with them, and I'm referring to the North. But of course, as always, the North had the Guns had their Guardian Angels, which is the Good Brothers, which is the last people they expect. So this is getting interesting. Now we're seeing that more tag teams are being put on the spot for a chance to win for the Impact World Tag Team titles. So I think that's pretty much it. So the Motor City Machine Guns won this match. I'm pretty excited how this turned out. So I can't wait to see Bound for Glory. So I'll keep up with more on content from Impact Wrestling. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I must bid all of you adieu. I will give you guys more updates on the G1 for this year, and of course I will do the Wednesday Night War on Thursday, which right now is 1:46 a.m., which is the 6th of October 6th. So that'll be tomorrow. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day.